FHFair.com.
Good morning, America. Supreme Court showdown. A big battle underway on Capitol Hill over President Trump's pick. Democrats trying to block Judge Neil Gorsuch. Will the GOP go nuclear and change the rules? And big questions this morning about Jared Kushner's trip to Iraq. What the White House is now saying about his huge role overseas and at home.
Breaking right now, the suspect identified in that deadly terror attack rocking Russia's second biggest city. A suicide bomber killing at least 14, injuring dozens. This hole blown through the side of a train car. Now the city on edge this morning.
Is she okay?
Spring break alert. A 17-year-old attacked by a shark in waist-deep water off the coast of Florida.
She's got the complete bite imprint of a big shark on her thighs.
The teen is now recovering with more than 120 stitches. What did she do to escape the shark's jaws?
In sweet redemption. And this year, the confetti is going to fall for North Carolina. The North Carolina Tar Heels, the new national champions, beating Gonzaga for their 6th title. After a bitter battle on the court, why fans were calling foul on the refs. In the huge block with seconds left that helped seal the win. Now the massive celebration this morning.
Good morning, America. We're national champions.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Str.
Good morning, America. All kinds of joy in North Carolina. What a dynasty that is.
Oh, that's right. And why don't we take a look at how the team celebrated? Yeah, right there in the locker room. That's to be expected. Looks like a lot of fun. And look at how many fans poured into the streets in North Carolina. They're celebrating that victory. That is incredible.
It's like working here at GMA.
Sure.
After each show, that's how we celebrate. Well, you know, there are a lot of fans, a lot of famous fans who were watching. They were tweeting about it. But someone who didn't show up at the game, and everyone said, what about the famous alumni, Michael Jordan? Well, according to Coach Roy Williams, Jordan's superstitious. He was at the game last year when they lost. So this year, he stayed home. And they won.
Reinforcing his superstition, right? He'll never be able to go.
Big day in North Carolina. We'll have more on that coming up. But we're going to begin with that Supreme Court showdown on Capitol Hill. Democrats now have the 41 votes they need to filibuster the nomination of Judge Neil Gorsuch. But Republicans are poised to change the rules and use that so-called nuclear option, which means Gorsuch could get on the court with just 51 votes instead of 60. Our congressional correspondent Mary Bruce is on Capitol Hill with all the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Partisan fights have become the norm up here, but this could be a new low. This showdown is so bitter that by the end of the week, it could fundamentally change the way Congress does business. Now, here's the state of play. Democrats are so opposed to Neil Gorsuch, they're now willing to do something they've almost never done before, filibuster his confirmation. But Republicans are having none of it. They are vowing to bypass Democrats, even if it means changing the Senate rules to allow just a simple majority to confirm a Supreme Court nominee. But George, there's a reason this is known as the nuclear option. This rule change could have a lasting impact on the bench that stretches far beyond this current administration. In fact, even Republicans who support the drastic move are warning that it could make judges even more ideological, not less.
Hard to know all the consequences, but one way or the other, Republicans say that Judge Gorsuch will be on the Supreme Court by the end of the week. On another front, it seems like the White House and some of their opponents have rekindled these talks over getting Obamacare replaced.
Yeah, George, progress, but still no deal. That's the word coming from Freedom House caucus members who met here last night with the vice president. The administration is now trying to revitalize these talks with hopes of wooing those ultra-conservative members who, of course, blocked the president's health care plan just 2 weeks ago. Now, on the table seems to be a plan that would allow states some flexibility to opt out of certain Obamacare provisions, including those essential health benefits, things like wellness visits, mental health treatment, even emergency services. But there is still no new legislation on the table and no agreement has been made.
Right,
George.
and that kind of deal could cost them votes on the other side, so we could be far away from any resolution there. Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
All right, and now to Jared Kushner's high-profile meetings overseas. The president's senior advisor and son-in-law sitting down with Iraq's prime minister as his role in the Trump administration grows. Our senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega has all the new details. Good morning, Cecilia.
Amy, good morning to you. A growing role indeed. And now this morning, the White House is facing questions about whether the president's son-in-law might have too much on his plate. His job description here includes everything from overhauling the federal government to brokering Middle East peace. This morning, Jared Kushner still in Iraq, the White House senior advisor and presidential son-in-law in the air on a helicopter ride with military brass. Kushner making the long trip to Iraq even before the president's own Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. The White House defending the trip. Why is he there and not the Secretary of State today? What's the message that the president is sending by having Jared Kushner be the one to take this trip?
I don't think it's not a binary choice. Jared's going to specifically express the commitment of the United States to the government of Iraq, meet with U.S. personnel engaged in the campaign. Kushner seated right there in the office of Iraq's prime minister. The trip seeming to cement his role as a shadow Secretary of State. He's been planning this week's visit of the Chinese president to Mar-a-Lago, and he's also tasked with brokering peace in the Middle East.
Jared is a very successful real estate person, but I actually think he likes politics more than he likes real estate.
And the president tapping his son-in-law to reform the criminal justice system, not to mention he's running the new Office of American Innovation, where he's responsible for reforming veteran care, tackling the opioid epidemic, and overseeing the not-so-small feat of revamping the entire federal government. Can he do all of these things?
It's not like he has a team that he oversees, and I think there's a lot of areas that he has been working very diligently on behalf of the government, on behalf of the president's agenda.
He is indeed very busy. Now, about that trip to Iraq, we're told that Kushner is there to receive an update on the status on the fight against ISIS. He is also there, we're told, Amy, to express the president's support for military personnel.
And Cecilia, this morning there is a report out that says President Obama's former national security advisor, Susan Rice, requested the protected names of Americans in intel reports, and that includes some Trump associates. Quite a bit of reaction to this among conservatives.
Definitely so. In fact, some of the president's conservative allies are applauding this. They are calling this the smoking gun that proves his wiretapping claims. It is not that, Amy. A former aide close to Rice doesn't deny that she did in fact seek out these names, but they say that she did nothing illegal or nothing out of the purview of her job, her former job as national security advisor, Amy.
All right, Cecilia, thanks so much. George.
Okay, we're going to get the latest now on the Russian terror attack that killed at least 14 people on the St. Petersburg metro. As we learn new details about the suspect, ABC's Alex Marquardt is on the scene in St. Petersburg. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, George. That's right. Moments ago, Russian authorities saying they do believe that this was a suicide bombing, that they found the remains of the bomber on the train. We're also being told by the National Intelligence Agency of Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia that the alleged attacker was born there, but he became a Russian citizen living and working here in St. Petersburg. Is this the bomber? This morning, Russian media posting photos they say are of suspected attacker Akbarjan Jalilov, born in Kyrgyzstan's second biggest city in 1995. These are the panicked moments following his alleged attack. Passengers scrambling to escape after that deadly bomb ripped through a subway car in St. Petersburg. A hole blown through the side of the train. The bomb went off just before 3 p.m. on Monday as the train was between two stations. As it came to a stop, thick black smoke and the smell of gunpowder filling the air. Passengers and metro staff dragging out the wounded. In this subway system that normally carries more than 2 million riders a day, at least 14 people killed and around 45 wounded. The train was traveling from Sanaya Square to the Technology Institute station in southern St. Petersburg when the blast struck. The train conductor deciding to continue to the next station. A move that officials say may have saved lives, making it easier for passengers to get out and get help. Within an hour, authorities discovering this black bag at a different station with another bomb, this one inside a fire extinguisher. Officials quickly defusing it, saying they believe these are homemade devices. As emergency responders arrived on the scene, all stations were quickly evacuated and shut down. But this morning, most are back open. The bombing taking place the same day that Russian President Vladimir Putin was in town for a meeting with the president of Belarus. Putin later laying flowers at the scene before speaking with President Trump and other world leaders who expressed their condolences and solidarity. There have been no claims of responsibility yet. There have been suggestions that the attacker had jihadist ties. That has not yet been confirmed. But just for context, we do know that thousands of people from Central Asia have been radicalized and gone to fight for ISIS in Iraq and Syria. George.
Okay, Alex, let's talk about that more now with terrorism expert Michael Leiter, former director of the government's Counterterrorism Center. And to pick up on what Alex was saying right there, this area, Kyrgyzstan, the Caucasus, hotbed of real jihadist, unrest for a generation for Putin.
Yeah, it really has. Both the Caucasus, which are about 2,000 miles to the west, and big Russian wars there, but also farther to the east in Kyrgyzstan. And we've had thousands of fighters, not only from Russia, but Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, go earlier to Pakistan and Afghanistan, and more recently to Syria.
Yeah, and we've seen in the past that Putin has cracked down in Chechnya, in those republics. Some concern now that Putin and his government may use this as an opportunity to crack down on these broader protests they've been facing.
I think it's fair to say that Putin never faces this sort of adversary with a gentle glove. He hits this with a hammer, and I think it's very possible that he will expand that. He will go after the Caucasus. He will go after being a harder fight in Syria, and I think he could use it as an excuse for any suppression that he wants.
That's the fight in Russia, but there is generalized concern across Europe, particularly these threats against public transportation and subways.
That's right, and we had the bombing in Brussels in 2016. We had threats in New York subway in 2009. These are really susceptible targets. Lots of people in closed space, and the screening to get on there is vastly easier than something like an airplane in the U.S. or overseas.
And one of the things we're learning overnight, even though there's no claim of responsibility, this idea that there was a second bomb, perhaps in a fire extinguisher, this could have been far worse.
It could have been far worse, and officials overseas in the U.S. will learn from that. They will look at how this bomb was hidden, how the train operator responded, because it doesn't matter where it is, anyone could face this. And you have to understand how you can win this cat and mouse game of terrorism officials trying to defend against these sorts of innovative threats.
But we do know this train operator, by continuing to go on, saved some lives.
Absolutely, that was good, but who knows? If it had been a fire on board, it could have actually accelerated it. So these are all the sorts of issues that go into both the response and, again, trying to find it before it happens, whether it's in a fire extinguisher or, as we've seen over the past couple of weeks, laptops on planes.
Michael Leiter, thanks very much.
Good to be here, George.
Turning now to the search for survivors in Colombia after that catastrophic landslide left more than 250 people dead. A major rescue and cleanup effort is underway now, and our chief national correspondent, Tom Llamas, is on the ground there in Mocoa, Colombia, with the very latest. Good morning, Tom.
Amy, good morning to you. We've been reporting about that wall of water, and I wanted to show you how high the water actually came. This is one of the rivers that overflowed. It actually came over that bridge and wiped out this entire neighborhood. Now, everyone here in Mocoa is wearing these surgical masks, and you have to, because the air quality here is so poor from all of the dust of the destruction, and of course, it's mixing with this unbearable stench from the loss of life.
This morning, emergency teams digging through neighborhoods buried in mud. At this point, the chance of finding any survivors is growing slim. Hundreds are dead, and the number is still rising in this devastated Colombian town. Floodwaters and debris crashing down in an avalanche, taking residents by surprise. Outside the town cemetery, we saw as scores of residents lined up to find out if their loved ones were among the dead. This woman in tears after identifying the body of her sister, but still no sign of her 11-year-old niece, last seen running from the wall of water. And desperation is now growing as hundreds are displaced.
¿Cómo está, señora?
Inside the largest shelter here, we saw the overflow of people needing help, the competition to get food, and several families left homeless. People sleeping wherever they can.
One of the first things you notice are the amount of children. They are everywhere. They are running around. They are being fed, but many of them have been orphaned by this disaster.
Colombia's president now saying his next fear for these residents, a public health crisis, because so many are getting by with so little.
Now, President Santos tells us that he spoke with President Trump yesterday over the telephone, who offered assistance. President Santos says what Colombia needs right now is food, they need diapers, and they need bedding. The Red Cross here in Colombia is coordinating all of those efforts, George.
What a tragic situation. Okay, Tom, thanks very much. We're going to move on to the search for a cop killer in Texas, where an officer was ambushed and shot as he arrived for work. We're now learning that the officer told officials just last week that he feared for his safety. ABC's Clayton Sandell has the details.
This morning, a manhunt for a cop killer. Overnight, police releasing this video of the suspect's getaway car leaving the scene. Investigators believe someone in that car opened fire on Harris County Sheriff Assistant Chief Clint Greenwood just as he arrived to work Monday morning at this Baytown, Texas courthouse. Greenwood was married and had a 30-year career as a cop and prosecutor focused on police corruption. The Houston Chronicle reports just last week Greenwood told colleagues he felt threatened by someone he'd once investigated in a corruption case, reportedly writing in an email, "I believe this person poses a real threat to my and my family's safety."
I heard 2 shots. He was on the ground. And then I saw the cars coming very quickly.
Assistant Chief Deputy Clint Greenwood was found to have been shot at least 1 time.
Bullets shattering the windows of his SUV. A helicopter rushed Greenwood to a hospital, but he did not survive.
Police have not yet named any suspects in this case, but they are now offering a reward of up to $65,000 that they hope will lead to an arrest. George.
Okay, Clayton Sandell, thanks very much. We had a lot of tough stories there. Let's switch gears.
Let's switch gears a little bit, George. We're going to talk about the game everyone's talking about. UNC getting sweet redemption last night, beating Gonzaga and taking home their 6th national championship. And who else is better to be there than our own TJ Holmes out there in Phoenix, Arizona? How you doing, TJ?
Hey, I'm doing well, but talking to these players after winning a national championship last night, talking to them one-on-one, I didn't see a lot of smiles. There was a lot of emotion. It was like a weight had been lifted because they have been on what they called themselves a redemption tour for the past year, to where anything less than a national championship this year was unacceptable. Well, they got it, but it was not pretty.
This year, the confetti is going to fall for North Carolina.
Redemption for North Carolina.
Bringing the championship back to Chapel Hill.
The Tar Heels are champions once again, beating Gonzaga for their 6th title in school history.
At one of the timeouts, I said, hey, we've been here before. We've got to play these last 3 minutes.
The back-and-forth game finally turned on this play. North Carolina's Isaiah Hicks hanging in the air to score with 25 seconds to go. Down by 3, Gonzaga still had a chance.
Comes in, blocked by Meeks.
But senior Kennedy Meeks came up with a big block, which triggered another huge play.
And he takes it down for the 5-point lead.
Justin Jackson's dunk that sealed the deal. The Tar Heels bench and their fans went into a frenzy, crushing the Zags' dreams of their first ever championship.
Once that ball went up, I got the rebound. I said, I can't even explain it. I was trying to find somebody to hug, everybody running away from me. And I was mad at everybody because nobody hugged me.
The Tar Heels bounced back from last year's buzzer beater loss to Villanova. This guy, Chris Jenkins, who made that heartbreaking shot, was sitting directly behind the Carolina bench and sporting a North Carolina t-shirt. He was cheering on his little brother, Nate Britt, who plays for the Tar Heels. After the game, UNC fans stormed the streets.
And yes, guys, what you saw just a few hours ago was a championship, and already what you're seeing behind me, that's the court already being packed up. It's on its way to Idaho to be stored. UNC will have the option to buy it if they want to. But guys, I know you saw last night, one thing that's not going away is the controversy over the officiating. A lot of talk last night about the officials and a lot of foul calls, but still don't want that to taint what was a huge night for the University of North Carolina. Tar Heel Nation.
I think no matter what, people are going to complain about the officials, TJ, so no sweat on them. And, you know, you said that the players weren't too excited, but it looked like the fans made up for it.
Oh, of course they did. Of course they did. But still, the players, it was emotional. This was all about a championship. The redemption tour is what they call it. It was championship or bust.
All right, maybe they can celebrate tonight, TJ. Thank you. Let's get over now to Rob Marciano. There's more severe weather, unfortunately, in the south.
Yeah, several systems are talking about northeast getting some rain today, and this is the same system in Lafayette, Louisiana. You see that tornado flipping that car on its heels. A couple of more systems coming through for a severe weather threat across Tulsa, getting in through parts of Mississippi and Alabama. And then tomorrow we spread it out, Montgomery, Macon, and Atlanta, really all the way up into the Ohio River Valley. Tuesday Trivia now brought to you by Las Vegas.
Hey, baby. Hey. How was Vegas?
Oh, my gosh, so much fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have pictures.
Is that a sketchbook?
Yeah. Finally putting my art major to use. There's the pool, the club, it's the after party. Selfie! I have so many selfies in here.
Yeah.
Oh, shopping. Oh, she's gonna hate that picture. She looks terrible.
Good morning, Washington. I'm meteorologist Josh Knight. We'll start off with more cloud cover, even a little bit of fog. Some showers not out of the question, but look what happens after 9 o'clock. Things clear out quickly for us. We get a lot more sunshine, and we're going to see temperatures getting close to 80 degrees. Here's how it looks as we go throughout the day. 61 around 8, 73 by noon, about 76 and mostly sunny at 5.